my fellow aviators and my beloved mechanics. Welcome to another video on my channel. And this one is in the series for Save Our Pilots, because there is a silent war being waged against aviation. And my future pilots and my future aircraft mechanics, your job is on the line. Your livelihood, your career is being threatened. And I'm afraid that nobody's even being honest with you and telling you the truth. So this video on here is I'm just going to bring up some things that you already know, that you're already talking about at the airport on the flight line. You see the problems, but you don't see any fixes, nor are there anybody coming to your aid and suggesting a way to fix these problems and to ensure a very rewarding and fulfilling life as a pilot or an aircraft mechanic. So now let's just launch into that feeling of something's wrong and people just aren't telling you the truth. Well, they aren't. I have been going around to various aviation colleges and universities and big flight schools and telling them about the problems facing you new pilots. See, for you pilots, you go through your flight training, you incur at least $100,000 to $200,000 in debt getting your private pilot, your instrument, and your multi-engine commercial. You only have between 250 to 300 flight hours, and now you've graduated, so now that student loan is coming due in a couple months. You need to start making payments on it. But who's going to hire you? Well, the first choice is to become a certified flight instructor. And as you guys have seen, looking over the ads and applying for jobs, you're seeing that there just isn't enough flight instructor jobs out there to support all of you. In fact, for every 100 pilots, I would say that only creates the need for one, maybe two flight instructors. Because flight instructors are really with a student a very limited amount of time. So there just isn't enough work out there for all of you guys. And then the other avenue is to get a job with a Part 135 charter operation. Their hours are much lower than the airlines. And remember, the airlines are at 1,500 hours. I'm hoping that we take that on and change that, because that was just an arbitrary rule that was made up and forced upon us. Nobody fought back at the time. Other countries don't even have this rule. And now these other countries where they have come here, got their pilot license as a foreign student, they've gone back to their country and went right to work for the airlines with 250 to 300 flight hours. Now, the U.S. government and immigration is inviting them back to our country to take your flying job. You don't think this is true? Just look at the ads on YouTube and Instagram. This ad here I saw on Instagram. Even some of my foreign students have applied and come back to be airline pilots here. I find this to be heartbreaking, especially since you are not allowed to go to their country and even work as a pilot at all. So this is devastating. Another thing that's happening is that with these Part 135 charter companies, which would be many of you, your first job, your entry-level job, to build the hours, spend 2-3 years there until you're ready for the airlines. This is being taken away from you and it's not even being mentioned. What's happening is with Congressman Nick Langworthy and the Aviation Safety Caucus there in Washington, D.C., they're trying to impose TSA screening, just like they do at the airlines, onto 135 operations. 135 operations aren't operating at major airports. They're at small, out-of-the-way airports. And if they take away this, if they impose this new law, this bill passes, the individual charter companies will not be able to meet the TSA screening requirements for their passengers. So what happens if you can't meet regs? Well, the flight's just canceled. And can you imagine, with just more than half their flights being canceled for this reason alone, they're all going bankrupt. They're just going out of business. And so now you can't be a flight instructor. Now the charter operations are being threatened. What do you do? And the answer is painfully obvious, and you guys are seeing it, is that now you have $100,000 to $200,000 student loan. So you got to just go out there and just get any dead-end job going nowhere just to make your student loan repayments. This is heartbreaking. This is a form of slavery. And I don't want to see this happen to one of you. So for this reason, I made this other video under this series for the Parent Teachers Association. Most of you are just out of high school or, not too far out of that. I'd ask that you go back to your high schools, to your Parent Teacher Association, maybe talk to your parents who are maybe also paying the tens to hundreds of thousands of dollars for your flight training and say, hey, look, we need you soccer moms. We need you guys with the little juice boxes and the little snacks. They're delicious. When my daughter was young, those snacks, I gained so much weight and it was pure heaven. But anyways, we need you. We need a caravan of minivans backing us up. Because you know what, as pilots and aircraft mechanics, there just isn't enough of us to make a difference. That's why our voice is never heard. I think nationwide there might be actually just only 100,000 working pilots. And then when you remember that as a working pilot, if you say anything out of line, the FAA will be at your hangar, at the flight line, to give you a routine inspection. And I think you guys know how that's going to go. Yeah, just like that. Yeah, so try to keep seated when you're having that inspection. That's all I can say. But anyways, our working pilots cannot say a word. They'll get destroyed. Me, they've already destroyed me, so what the heck? We're playing for blood now, so I'm in till the end, and I'm here to help you. But if you stay at the airport and you keep your head in the sand and you keep focusing on shooting that approach down to minimums, making that short field landing, it is not going to make any difference at all. The battle for your future as a pilot is not at the airport. It is at the Aviation Sub Committee. It is at individual congressmen and congresswomen's offices who are, what I believe, are good people, but are just being misled by a few who want to destroy aviation. So now, I would ask that you would share the other video in this series, the PTA video, with your local PTA organizations at your different high schools and maybe college organizations, and see if we can't get more people involved to help save aviation, help save your future as a pilot or a mechanic. Here's my email, and I would just like to finish with this, is that even though we're in a dark period of time in aviation, where it all seems screwed up and that there's no path forward, we can change things. We can change this, we can get this fixed. And it is my sincere prayer that you have the same wonderful career in aviation that I had. For it's truly the best job that I've ever had. In fact, I don't even think I'd call it a job. I'd just call it a lifestyle. With that being said, I would like to just say God bless, keep flying speed, and peace.